Giro d'Italia began its 7th day in the neighboring country of Austria, the Olympic city of Innsbruck, which served as a finishing town for a 1988 stage of the Giro. Today became a start venue for the first time ever. Plenty of pageantry in the Tyrolean capital as they're seeing their stars of cycling, like Lance Armstrong, like Danilo De Luca in the pink jersey as the current Giro leader. Huge crowds, and the Giro is always a draw no matter what city, no matter what country it visits. And Lance Armstrong always the primary draw in the sport of cycling, and of course this year racing his first ever Giro d'Italia Grand Tour. 194 riders lining up in Innsbruck to take the start earlier today, and another long day in the saddle, 244 kilometers. And weather could play a role. It was partly cloudy with a temperature in the mid-60s as these riders rolled off the start line in Innsbruck earlier, but it is forecast to get windy for some rain. The temperature will drop as the stage unfolds, so it could be pretty dicey in terms of overall weather. Now Steve Schlanger joined by Todd Gogulski. Glad to have you with us. Let's take you through the course for today's stage number 7. This wraps up the first full week of racing in the Giro d'Italia, a 3-country jaunt beginning in Austria, rolling through Switzerland before ending back in Italy. Another long day for the riders with this southwesterly course direction today. And Todd, as I mentioned, that weather could make what might otherwise be a rather straightforward course much more unpredictable as this stage unfolds.
Strong the whole way through as we're getting close to the top of this climb here, and then a very fast descent down into the finishing area.
The green line indicates where the race is right now, and the flags also indicative of 3 different countries visited on today's stage. Zarski, the Polish rider for the ISD team, Sergei Klimov, the Russian on Katusha, Maro Faki, who was an early King of the Mountains contender. He's the Italian for the Quick-Step team in the break, and then another Russian for the Jacobo Galizia team, Austria of Meerhofen. Lance Armstrong mentioned that they got up to almost 70 miles per hour. Levi Leipheimer was saying that the peloton was not happy. Those are some amazing speeds, but that just goes to show you how aggressive the racing can be in the first week of a Grand Tour.
Yeah, and you take that type of riding yesterday, and then today we're getting word that up at the top of this climb there's some wet weather. It's down in the mid-40s, and the descent is wet. So a lot of guys right now are wondering how are they going to negotiate this descent coming up.
And that could really change things. Temperature much colder up there as well, in the mid-40s. So you're basically talking about a 20-degree difference between where the race started in Innsbruck and where that only climb is today, the Passo della Maloja. So things could be changing. We have yet to see any weather of any kind affect this year's Giro d'Italia. It's been dry throughout, basically very mild, warm at times, either partly cloudy or sunny skies all 6 days so far, but we could be seeing our first raindrops as this stage 7 proceeds.
And you can see Columbia High Road there, a Canadian Michael Berry on the right, the Italian Pozzatti, excuse me, on the left, and these two guys really looking to try and bring this back for Cavendish. They're not going to put their entire team on to have my car come up, and so there's the whole protocol that goes on within the caravan where the rider holds his hand up, the commissar sees it, he looks at the situation out there, there's nothing dangerous going on, it's not a critical moment, he'll get on the race radio to all the caravan and say, for instance, Castapagna, your rider requiring service, please come to the front, and the car jams up there.
Right at the moment here, as they pass one of the many quaint villages here in the foothills of the mountains. Gorgeous valley, and good shot at the snow on the summits, the clouds starting to build and gather around this region. And the riders pretty much know what's coming. They will have heard the forecast, they know what awaits them, and it's going to be on the climb, according to the forecast, where the weather will really
to make it. It's a long, fast descent to the finish, but they're not even at the top of this climb yet. Probably advantage peloton at this point, but you can't say so for sure because it's bike racing after all, and there are a lot of factors that go into it.
50 kilometers from the finish of today's stage number 7. And our breakaway group of 4 riders with a lead of 2 minutes 10 seconds over the main field. And once the race does get to St. Moritz, there is one intermediate sprint there today. That's the only intermediate sprint out on the road here on stage number 7. And as far as the sprinters classification and the sprinter's jersey, well, the sprinter's jersey itself is being worn by Alessandro Patacchi, even though overall race leader Danilo De Luca is leading the sprint classification. It's interesting to note that De Luca leads the GC, but he also leads 3 categories overall. The general classification, the... So the riders coming through today saying, look at the odds, and look what we get. The rain, the wind, the nasty stuff.
Yeah, it's the middle of May, and it's the first bad weather day of the Giro, so, but you know, that's bike racing, they see the worst of the weather all over the world.
And a bar of the world rider. And
Cipollini, no wonder they have no good climbers. Cipollini, known for his sprint, have to dig very deep to get a very small advantage if you're lucky enough to actually get one. So my suspicion is that for the next few days, all the GC guys are pretty much going to play it cool, and you know, we may see one of those guys throw in a couple of attacks, but they're really going to look for opportunities. They're going to follow moves, and if they say, wow, I actually have a shot at something here, I'm going to go ahead and cash, you know, throw into the fire. As we see Lance Armstrong there in the black jacket, right behind, sitting about 10 riders.
Maloya. Now, from the top, it drops down 6 kilometers to the finish. Another very frantic downhill expected here at the end of stage 7, just like we saw at the end of stage 6 yesterday. But the big difference, much wetter roads versus the dry conditions we had yesterday.
And now we see Horner sitting second wheel in the black jacket. Just to his left and our right is the pink jersey. There's Danielson in the Garmin jersey on your left. You got to be looking here for Basso, got to be looking for Levi, as De Luca here just fighting to stay in the front, out of trouble. Surprising to me that he doesn't have any teammates with him. And it looks like that is Barber World back on the front. Could be Aqua and Sapone. Their jerseys almost identical. It's actually both teams. It's Aqua and Sapone and Barber World. And Liquigas there for Basso. Basso looking like maybe the man on the left, about 10 riders back. Very critical point right now. They're about to head down the climb. And when they head down, a lot can happen.